Is it recording? All right, let's just jump right into it. So I grew up here in Hawaii, and growing up in Hawaii, the only noodle soup that I knew anything about for a very, very long time is called Saimin. And so Saimin is everywhere here. You can get it at McDonald's, you can get it at football games, you can get it at Zippy's, you can get it at Hamur Saimin after you play gigs with your friends. And I ate it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When it's hot, when it's cold, it's pretty ubiquitous part of growing up here in Hawaii. Saimin is actually so ingrained in Hawaii culture that instant ramen is actually usually called packaged saimin or dry saimin. And for a long time I was like, why does Saimin packets always say this ramen thing? I don't even know what that is. And that was probably till I was an adult, to be honest. And I don't think my story is rare. I think anybody who grew up in Hawaii will tell you similar things about Saimin. So fast forward many, many years and I go to Japan, I taste real ramen. Come back home, I get really into trying to make it, and I get really into the nerdy stuff like umami extraction from bones and kombu and dashi stocks and noodle making and hydration percentages and tares and aroma oils and all of these things I start to nerd out about, and I slowly start to become a Saimin hater. So when people here locally start to find out I have this ramen YouTube channel, one of the first questions I start to get a lot is, what's the difference between Saimin and ramen? And I start to say things like, Saimin's like the worst version of ramen. It's the local crappy version of ramen, doesn't have any aroma oil, and I've started to list off all these bad things about ramen. I just become this asshole ramen elitist. But lately my buddy Ramen Lord has been really getting into the Sun Noodle Saimin kits, and he's been really liking them, so I was like, do I really hate Saimin as much as I think I do? So I decided last week I'm gonna go check out my local world famous Saimin spot, Hamur Saimin, get some Saimin. I haven't eaten it in probably over a decade, and I wanted to really see if I hated it as much as I thought I hated it. So I go to Hamura's, I order a small takeout Saimin. The soup drips in my car the entire way back. I lose about probably a quarter of the soup in the takeout container. I get home, I put it into a bowl. It just looks like a hot mess, to be honest. Like the noodles are soggy from sitting in the soup too long, or what little soup I have left. Soup is kind of cloudy, it doesn't look like it was extracted at the exact right temperature to make a chintan soup. All the toppings are stuck at the bottom. You know, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of what I expected. You know, this is Saimin. Everybody just loves it for some reason. I don't know. And then I take a sip. And you know that scene in Ratatouille when that food critic eats Remy's cooking and he's like, whoosh, whoosh, like back to his childhood? That's what I got. I instantly started seeing these scenes of like ordering a Saimin at a football game and going and watching football with my friends, or eating McDonald's Saimin on a cold day, or going to Hamur Saimin with my friends after a really, really great gig we played and having a great time around the table there. I'm seeing all these memories of eating Saimin throughout my life with my friends and family. And all of this was just triggered by like the sip of this really, to be honest, like kind of unrefined noodle soup, you know, that we call Saimin here. And the whole time my logical brain is shouting like, you know, this is not a properly extracted soup. The noodles are soggy, it sat in the soup for too long. The toppings are just luncheon meat and kamaboko, but it was just delicious. And I finished it in about 5 minutes, and it was probably one of the best food experiences I've had in years. So from that, I decided to spend last week tinkering and planning out to make my own version of Saimin using more refined ramen techniques that I've picked up along the way. And for any ramen nerd watching this video or the next video, the how to make Saimin video, it's not gonna sound very impressive. It's basically just like a chicken, pork, double soup chintan cut with a shrimp heavy dashi, no aroma oil. On paper, it's not anything too exciting, and honestly, it's not even one of the best tasting bowls that I've ever made. But to be 100% honest, I kind of started crying after I ate it, which is really weird. That usually doesn't happen. I think I've only been emotionally moved one time with food in my life, eating at Alan Wong's for the first time. But yeah, I was sitting in my living room and kind of holding back the tears. I'm holding back the tears now, kind of even. There's a saying here in Hawaii that's taken off with some local celebrity chefs that goes, ramen is trendy, Saimin is life.
To me, ramen is trendy, Saimin is life.
Saimin is life.
Ramen's trendy, Saimin is for life. I'm gonna choose Saimin over ramen any day. Ramen's trendy, Saimin is life.
And for a long time, I didn't get it. I chalked it up to this idea of nostalgia and the lack of experience with real great ramen that people in Hawaii usually don't really have if you don't travel to Japan or outside of the state. But after eating Saimin again for the first time in a very long time, I get it. They're not saying Saimin is better than ramen. What they're saying is Saimin is the flavor of the experience of growing up and living in Hawaii. It's the flavor of McDonald's on a cold day. It's the flavor of a high school football game. It's the flavor of breakfast on a cold day. It's the flavor of hanging out with your friends at Zippy's after drinking all night. It's the flavor of hanging out with your friends at Hamura's after a great gig Oh, I'm getting emotional. It's the flavor of spending time with friends and family that you love. It's the flavor of growing up, living, and dying in Hawaii. And as great as ramen can be when perfectly executed, it can never be that. Ugh. So now I get it. For people in Hawaii, ramen will always be trendy, and Saimin will always be life. How to make Saimin in the next video. See you guys there.